Hello again to all my favorite internet people. It is me, Brandon Hart, the EcostruDer, once again. And I've missed you guys. I've missed you. Yeah, sorry about the big break in content here on the channel, but things have been very, very busy. So all for good reasons, good things. So hopefully things will calm down a little bit now and I can start making a few more of these videos. So what better way to come back than to do a unboxing video? So I've got here the Creality CR-6 MAX 3D printer and haven't opened it. It's still fully sealed. This was a Kickstarter campaign reward and I'm gonna open it up and maybe even get it assembled and share some thoughts here in this video for the EcostruDer. Here we go with the CR-6 MAX. Disclaimer time. So HartSmart Products is a reseller of Creality machines, but we do not currently sell the CR-6 MAX. So this is actually going to be really interesting for me because we do sell the CR-6 SE. And that's been a really good seller for us. It's been very popular. Customers have loved it. So I'm pretty interested to see how the CR-6 MAX compares. If this goes well, I might actually sell the CR-6 MAX. But yeah, I'm not going to hold back any thoughts, any issues, any concerns, whatever itself. You know, my thoughts and opinions are my own. I have not been compensated for this. This machine was sent to me only because I was a Kickstarter backer and not because I am a Creality reseller. So there's the disclaimer out of the way. Let's jump in here and get this thing unboxed. So I am using my favorite hobby knife. I think these are technically called. There's a little bit of a running joke here at the shop because I absolutely love this thing. And they say I have a special relationship with this knife. Nobody else is allowed to use it. Anyway, okay, so once I unfold these flaps, it's really obvious that this thing is big. I mean, this is a big printer. Okay, we're first met with a cautions piece of paper. So, first of all, big foam pieces. Oops, hit the camera. So yeah, big foam pieces. Creality does a really good job of packing these machines. That's the one thing I can always say. Everything has its own little cutout. It's really impressive. Here's an envelope labeled self-leveling kit. I don't know if you can actually see what this looks like, but here you go. That's what it looks like. All right. So, self-leveling kit. Of course, we got to open that up. There is no specific sensor. There's no probe or anything like that. There's no induction sensor, anything. So the way in which this works is it measures the load on the print head, and so it appears that this is that load cell, and you mount the print head onto this intersection right here, and the inner section is going to flex ever so slightly, which is then going to be measured by this sensor right here. So, all right, I guess that's part of the assembly that we will find out shortly. Cool. So there's our self-leveling kit, which is a self-leveling part, which is a load cell. Good, okay. What else do we have? We have an invitation. All right. Be the next customer of Creality Cloud. Yeah, this is a thing I haven't really messed with much. This is their replacement for, or alternative to, like using Octoprint. They have their own Creality Cloud, and you can get the Creality Wi-Fi box. I haven't messed with it much. It's super cheap. Super cheap. It's like $10 or $20, something like that. We don't sell them, but they're kind of interesting. After sales service card with a QR code. They really love their QR codes at Creality. And then there is the printer user's manual, and that's what we're going to go through to actually get it assembled. All right, so there's the user's manual. We have an actually decent sized spool of PLA. Normally they come with these itty bitty tiny little spools, and this one is their CR PLA, 1 kilogram. It's a full 1 kilogram spool. Wow, that's pretty cool. This spool that it's on is a little sketch, but yeah, a full 1 kilogram of PLA. No idea what kind of the quality level that stuff is, but you get a whole kilogram of it. Bunch of screws and bolts that we will use for the assembly process. Here is that really nice full color touchscreen LCD. I like this a lot. My only issue with it is that it has its own firmware, and you don't update its firmware by updating the machine's firmware. You actually have to take off this cover, and there's another SD card inside. You have to then put the firmware files on that SD card and put the firmware files into this LCD, so this LCD can update its own firmware. Kind of weird process, but yeah. So it's a nice interface. It's a nice screen. Hopefully there aren't too many firmware updates that are required to the LCD, but yeah. So that's a nice thing to have. What else? What is this? Oh, this is the very nice spool holder. And actually we sell these on their own, so you can add these spool holders to other machines. But basically they just clip onto the 4040 extrusions, or whatever they actually are. They clip in there, and then here, this part actually holds the spool on the side of the machine rather than on the top. I never really liked it on the top because it, can wobble around and cause issues in your print. So this actually hangs off the side of the printer, which is particularly good for a printer this size. Power cord, nothing exciting there. These are the support rods, and pull these out. There we go. So 2 of these get screwed together, and then they form a triangle with the top of the frame. And so you can kind of get an idea of, that's about the angle I believe that these are going to be at. They call this the golden triangle, which is cute. But yeah, the golden triangle, basically these are just support rods that stabilize the Z axis, essentially, the top section of the printer. And those are very much required for something this large. Okay, I think that's everything out of the top foam. There, simple as that. Look at all those specific cutouts. It's really, really nice the way they pack these things. Wow, that is a big machine. All right, here we go. Can you see that? There it is. Look at that bed. Woo! That is a bed. So the cool thing about the CR-6 and the way that they put these things together, there's very little assembly that you need to do. And I'm seeing they pretty much went with the exact same idea here on the CR-6 MAX. The whole frame is mostly already put together. See there? So normally you would have to, add in the motors and, assemble this top section and mount the print head and all that kind of thing. But in this machine, it comes already fully put together, except I gotta show you this. I'm coming around. So this is something that I have noticed in some Creality machines, and it seems to be relatively common. So I don't know if you can see that. Ugh, this is hard. But see, this screw is not actually all the way in. See that? That's a loose screw. This happens a lot with these Creality machines. And I get why. They're building a lot of machines on assembly lines. They're building them very, very quickly. And sometimes it's hard to have full quality control, but that is why, a machine that has a print volume, build volume of 400 millimeters by 400 millimeters by 400 millimeters can cost less than $1,000. So there are going to be some shortcuts, there are going to be some compromises made, and that is clearly one of them. So my recommendation to you is anytime you get any of the Creality machines, whether it's a CR-6 MAX or something else, give it a once over with a screwdriver. Just tighten everything down, make sure everything is nice and snug. Okay, a couple things to point out here. In addition to just the fact that some of the screws may not be fully tightened, like this one down here, this is also a really, really nice improvement over here. So normally you have those mechanical limit switches that are used to determine the Z height, and they're good. They're not incredibly precise, but they're pretty good. They're usually good enough. In this case, on the CR-6 SE and on the CR-6 MAX, you actually have a, I can't even think of what this is called. Photo interrupter, something like that. I'll probably flash it up on the bottom of the screen here, but basically it is a little LED that's forming a little beam, and then this little piece of sheet metal right here is coming down and breaking that beam. And as soon as it breaks that beam, it triggers. And that is a much more precise way of doing things than having the mechanical clicky limit switches on the bottom. So you should be able to get a much more consistent Z offset that will maintain its height and consistently print the same height on the bed every single time. So that'll be fun to test. Other than that, the filament detection sensor here, they claim is photoelectric. So again, not mechanical. It actually is able to detect the presence of filament. I'm a little curious with filament detection sensors like those, how they handle clear filaments. So that'll be fun to test as well. And then I will also point out that there are mechanical clicky limit switches for the y-axis, or sorry, for the x-axis, and I assume there's also one on the bed here for the y-axis. Another cool thing I like about this one, the wiring all goes together really, really nicely. There's this connector here for the cable, and we'll take a look at that shortly. And there's also a little light. So that's neat. There's a little light here that's shining on your part, so you can see things. I like that. That's a nice little touch. Okay, so here is the top section. And of course, what we're all waiting for. Yeah, I'll show you how this is laid in here. Just like that. And I'm sure the instructions tell you a specific way that you're supposed to pull this out. And I will admit that I guess I'm a typical man in that I don't always read instructions. Oh, that is heavy. That is heavy. Ooh. Woo. Look at this thing. Whew. That has got some weight to it. All right, so a few things that I am noticing right away. Number one, 2 of these Y axis gantries here, or extrusions, whatever. There goes the box. But yeah, 2 of these. So first of all, I was really impressed on the CR-6 SE, how they made these things essentially a, what is this, like a 2060 extrusion, aluminum extrusion. So very wide, which makes them very stable as well. And then of course you love the knobs on there too to tension the belts. Really impressed that this one not only has that same extra wide profile, but 2 of them. So this whole bed, yeah, look at that. I'm impressed by that. That is that's pretty nice. Okay, good. So there's a slight detent in some of the wheels here. That's, again, a pretty common thing that I see from a lot of the machines from Creality. I don't know if it's from the machine sitting in one place too long or what it is, but there's a little bit of a detent there. Yep, right there in the bed as it moves. So I've swapped some wheels out and that goes away immediately, so it seems like it's a wheel thing, but yeah, we'll see. So a couple other things. Tip this up again, let the bed fall slowly. There we go. Look at this motor. So big beefy motor first off, and it has a through shaft. So it's not 2 individual motors. It's not one motor tied, together with a belt or anything like that. It's one motor tied to both geared, both belts on each side, both gears for the belts. So it's driving them both simultaneously. I like this design because it's not going to get out of sync. So you're not going to have like a cockeyed bed going back and forth. And this motor is, for a Creality machine, this motor is actually pretty decently sized as well. So I kind of expected to be a little more skeptical about this machine, but I am liking what I'm seeing. Also, anybody who's had like an Ender 3 or some of the other Creality machines where you have sort of a, I don't know, sketchy way of connecting the power to the bed, will really appreciate this really nice improved strain relief and connection system to the bed. It's also not a bunch of wires in wire wrap. It's an actual insulated cable. So that's also really cool. This thing, I want to take this thing off real quick. There we go. That is a big piece of carborundum glass. Basically glass with silicon carbide on the surface. So yeah, I hope that it is nice and flat. I hope, because otherwise we could have a bad time when we actually try to go printing on this thing. The bed leveling helps, the bed mapping helps with the probing sequence, but it can only do so much. So hopefully that is really nice and flat. I do like that it's removable, and we can clip these right in. So that's cool. Right on. Well, yeah, I should probably shut up now because I've been talking for quite some time. Genuine Meanwell power supply, little tool drawer is fun. Full-size SD card, love that. Those little micro SD cards are the worst. 32-bit control board, TMC 2209 stepper drivers. I mean, this whole thing just seems really nice. So I'm gonna put this thing together and maybe even turn it on. Let's do that. I'm 6 minutes in, and it's mostly done. Just putting the golden triangle on now. All right, I am just going to plug in the last couple of wires here, and then we're done. Then I'll put these little clips on here just to hold everything together. That's it. Done. Took me 10 minutes. 10 minutes to put this this whole thing together, because most of it was already put together before I even took it out of the box. The box. I sound I don't know what that is. Midwesterner? Canadian? I don't know. Anyway, out of the box, and yeah, I believe everything is connected. I never actually opened the instruction manual. I suppose I should, there. Hold on. I can do this. Hardest part of the whole build. Boom. Now it's assembled. Okay. But yeah, so never actually opened up the manual. I don't have, well, no, wait. We can do this. There is an outlet here. Oh man, that's not a lot to work with. Can we reach? Oh, so close. All right, I think this should do it. So let's fire this guy up and see what happens. Again, haven't read the instructions. Probably some stuff in there about what you're supposed to do before you turn it on. Almost definitely. It's currently off. Plugging it in. And hey, whew, so satisfying. Love that. Here we go, it's booting up. It's on. We're running. A little bit of a noisy fan here. Well, how well you can hear that. Can you hear that? Yeah. But let's move it around a little, because that's more exciting. LED, we can turn the LED on. Hey, look at that. Ooh, it's very blue. So there's a thing we can do. Prepare, move. Ooh, wow, that is quiet. Other than the beeping, you can't hear any sounds. Oh wow, that is quiet. Which some people care about. I'm not one of those people, but it's still remarkable. Here you have it, the CR-6 MAX. This machine is, I'm gonna turn it off because that fan is a little noisy. So far I'm pretty impressed by it, and I'm really interested to kind of put it through its paces, and again, see how it compares to some of the other machines. But at this point, I'm thinking, as long as it actually is as good as it seems to be, I might actually have to start stocking these things, because it looks pretty good. But again, I will give you all an update after I'm able to do quite a bit more testing with it and actually see how it performs. It's one thing to be an impressive bit of kit when you go to put it together, but it's a whole nother thing to actually get good prints. So we'll see how it does with that. One more thing. Ooh, yes. There we go. So I'm tempted right away to put my greasy fingers on there, but I'm not gonna. So anyway, thank you all for watching. I hope this was informative, enjoyable, or maybe both. And if you did like this content, then make sure that you subscribe for more. An update on the CR-6 MAX performance, for example, or how it compares against a Modix Big 40, or any number of other things. And if you haven't already, click the little bell to be notified when new episodes come out. If you have thoughts on this, if you have questions on this, again, I'm going to be doing some testing, so if there are things you want me to do with it, then let me know down in the comments below. Otherwise, you can always email me, ECOstruder@HartSmartProducts.com, and follow on social, all the places. Again, haven't been as active as I want to be on social either, but working on it. With that, I just want to say thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.